Alrighty, so you've made it this far, so congratulations. If you are taking the next steps just to get your business up and running to really take it to the next level, I give you props no matter what. So we're gonna jump into some of these case studies that I mentioned. If you saw the ad before, you might be curious, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through all of that right now. This is not some crazy VSL. It's not meant to be super catered. This is raw, just me in the flesh, walking you through what we did. And if you happen to like it, make sure you book a call down below. Check it out. I know you're gonna enjoy it, and you've got nothing to lose. So let's jump straight into it. So this is our case study for the client that ended up doing 6K in sales opening day. For some context, this person, or it's actually a group of people, but these people were previously a sales team at a lead generation agency, and they were fired on a whim, extremely upset. It was bad blood, not a cool boss. And they were like, you know what, we're going to do it ourselves, but we do not have the systems in place to make it happen. So they reached out to me. We talked over the phone for a couple hours over the period of, say, 2 weeks, and then we locked something in. And this is what you're seeing. So for this team, on their first day, they ended up making 2 closes. It's a very high ticket sale. So they made $6,000 in sales. They processed 127 leads. They called 406 people, and ultimately they got their 2 closes. So that was day 1. Now I'm going to walk through how we got that done. And it's a combination of a lot of things, but this is more or less what we'd be walking through in a consultation. So bear with me. But we started with data automation. So they didn't have a CRM. They did have a way of getting leads, but they did not have a way of filtering their leads. They didn't have a way of getting them onto a system for their dialers. They didn't even have a dialer at the time. So we went ahead and we did that. We did some automations. They brought Google Sheets into their CRM. So they had way less manpower. I believe in that alone, it probably saved them 2 to 3 hours per person doing data entry. So that's a big win. Right here, you can see it was over 2,000 runs of automation. So ended up reducing approximately 5 hours of manual work. Since they were calling tons of people, we had to have live communications. So what we did was we built out a Discord bot, right? And this Discord bot pretty much pinged them anytime somebody was calling. That way a closer in the sales team could get ready to make that close. We also had to optimize their sales flow. So when they called cold leads, these leads weren't necessarily ready to purchase. They had no intent. So they do have a process in their sales where an opener kind of qualifies them. So it goes from cold lead to qualified. And then ultimately the opener decides whether or not they're qualified. And if they are, they then get sent over to a closer. The closer does their thing. Really badass team. Excuse my language, but really badass team. They close them. And boom, deal's done. They go ahead and they sell that referral and they are good to go. On top of that, they had to have tip-top communications. So we put their communications in one place. This is using Go High Level. So if you wanted to build it yourself, you're more than welcome to. However, the biggest problem I see with Go High Level is everybody buys it. Other people sell it to you. They sell their affiliate program. It's just out the box and it doesn't serve you, right? Like, these tools are primarily designed as tools, right? And when you just follow a template, the unfortunate part is it doesn't fit your workflow. And we at Hermetica do not believe in that. So we make sure that it's tailored to your workflow. Despite that, decentralized communications is actually part of Go High Level. So, the team can use it to communicate with their clients, communicate with each other, and ultimately make sure that all their leads are being tracked within their system. It does include a built-in dialer, which is why we ended up going with it. And sorry, I'm rushing through this, so I'm a little out of breath. And, ultimately at the end of their sales process, they had to send out contracts. Previously, they did this with DocuSign. They had to fill out the client information, send it over manually via email. The client would sign it. It'd be all signed up. They had to sign it back. And ultimately, when they sold this lead, they had to then send it again. So what we did instead is we automated the contract, pre-populates with their information. All they have to do is click a couple buttons, confirms, and then ultimately they can sell that lead. Now for the invoicing, anybody who's using Stripe or any payment platform like that knows, very simple. Make sure to get that all automated as well. That way they just hit a button and it goes. So what's next for these guys? Really, it's just optimizing. We have a couple bug fixes to do with the CRM, make sure everything's always smooth. And then ultimately we increase volume. So the more leads we get, their sales team can handle it. The more conversions we'll ultimately get, which means more money. So that is the first case that I shared with you guys. Now we have paid ads. This is for credit repair. So in the month of February, we spent about $450 in ads, which turned around and ended up giving us $46,000 in qualified leads. These are leads that met specific criteria to this client. And the beautiful thing is, once they reached out, they were completely in his DMs. There is a ton of regulation in the credit space. So, they can't reach out via phone. He can't send them text messages. However, there is room for him to manually DM them. So that's kind of where this funnel ended up being. So what we did is we A/B tested some ads as well as some copywriting for those ads. And so we tested initially for engagement, and then we ended up going for, we tested for engagement, and the reason is because we wanted more conversations. So the more conversations we got, the more sales, and ultimately more money in your pocket. So the way we did that is we used IG to qualify. We did do pre-qualifying via ads. So they would click an ad, it would be qualified. They'd go into the DMs where we'd have some automations that further qualify them. If they met certain qualifications, they'd go into the sales funnel. From the sales funnel, they'd go ahead, fill out their form, fill out their details, sign the contract, and ultimately start working with this client. After an extended amount of time, they get paid and everything is good. So what's next for this credit company is deploy a sales team via IG. Now, because of TSR compliance, this is extremely hard. May not be the move. At the time of writing this, I thought it was, but after further research, may not be the way to go. However, we will increase ad spend. Once you find successful ads, we want to make sure we push them hard, make sure we get those wins quickly, because you never know how the market changes. So our last case study that we'll be going over is a local window installer. And what we did was SEO for them. So our goal there was to rank them highest in their area for window installations. So in the time that we worked together, we made about $98,000 in lead value. We did $98,000 in lead value. So these were warm leads with high buyer's intent. The beautiful thing about doing strong SEO is when they reach out to you, they are ready to buy. They are looking for very specific keywords in Google, like window repairing near me, or vinyl windows near me, or whatever it may be. So they are looking to shop. They're ready to go. In this time period, so between January and March, we had 60 inbound calls, as well as 104 inbound calls between July and December, each one being of 600 plus in value. So lots of great value capture there. Here's some images of their rankings, and this was in Orange County. We're no longer limited to just Orange County, but as of July 19th, they were ranked number 1 in the area. So how did we do it? Well, first of all, we started with building a website. They didn't have a website prior to this, nor did they have a Google online presence. So you couldn't really find them through Google, couldn't really find them online generally. So the way we did that is we started with some keyword research. We looked at competitors, we looked at their sites, we saw some of the words they were ranking for, some of the words we liked, keywords we liked, so meaning things that we wanted to dominate in the market. Once we kind of narrowed those down, we filtered by volume. So here's a little example. So we look for keywords that had a high search volume and low competition. That way we can win them quickly. Once we started stacking those wins under our belt, we started targeting the higher keywords, ultimately kind of leading to this snowball effect. And, within 3.5 months, I want to say, we started really just pushing out the competition in that area. And we did have some major competitors. For anybody in the industry, we were going up against, say, Anderson, who is known in the industry, and locally, we were just dominating. So that was a good feeling. Now, the way we did that was through programmatic SEO. We were writing over 100 blog posts a month. And although we did have people overlooking these blog posts, the beautiful part is we did this using AI. And so recently, Google has tried to regulate AI articles from spamming the internet. But the great thing is when you love playing with the AI, you can always program AI to write less like AI. So it was actually a really fun project. And it's really nice to push that many articles out for each client. So we had a good time. But what's next? We let it cook. We start introducing paid ads and ultimately hire installers and sales teams. So at this time, our client actually had 2 teams operating, but ideally we'd like to keep scaling that, bring in a 3rd team, bring in a 4th team if needed, and ultimately run paid ads, because the beauty is when you start really pushing paid ads in combination with SEO, in combination with content, and making high value content in all of those fields, you really start seeing some huge benefits. So, these projects were a lot of fun, but I'm very much looking forward to meeting some of you guys, seeing what businesses you guys run, chatting and exploring ways that we could help scale it. And if this is something that works out, most definitely reach out. That's about it. Just wanted to keep it raw. Click the link below. Make sure you book some time. Worst case scenario, like I said, you end up leaving with an extra game plan. Best case scenario, lifelong partners in crime, and we got to make some great value to other customers. So appreciate you guys.